From Denver, I drive east to Abilene, Kansas to check out one of the few Green Book listings still in operation called the Diamond Motel. Here I meet Howie, the motel's new owner, who bought the property a few months prior to my stay, and who, much to his surprise, was unaware of the property's history as a sanctuary for black travelers. I have some meaningful conversations with Howie and a few of his friends that evening, and in the morning, after a good night's sleep, head south. I'm here downtown Tulsa, outside of what's called the Drexel Building, which is now the South Boston Building. In 1921, Dick Rowland, a black teenager, was riding in an elevator car operated by a white teenager named Sarah Page. At some point, she felt threatened and screamed. While there was no evidence of assault, Rowland was arrested. As the news spreads, an angry white mob gathers and heads to the jail, demanding Rowland be released to them and be lynched. When authorities deny this request, the mob marches to Greenwood and for 18 hours loot and burn black businesses and kill hundreds of black residents. The kind of incident between white women and black men, like the one which set off the Tulsa race riots, is all too familiar. More recently, recall Barbecue Becky in Oakland, who called the police over a group of black men barbecuing in a park. Or Amy Cooper, the white woman who called the cops on a black man birdwatching in Central Park. Beyond the criminalization of black men in the media, think the 1915 film Birth of a Nation as a starting place, I wanted to understand the root of this white fear. I found a quote from James Baldwin. He says of the race problem, "These tensions are rooted in the very same depths from which love springs or murder." The white man's unadmitted, and apparently to him unspeakable, private fears and longings are projected onto the Negro. And, quoting Baldwin again, "Whatever white people do not know about Negroes reveals precisely and inexorably what they do not know about themselves." In an article called How America Runs on Racism, economist Derek Hamilton says, "Racism is a tool, a mechanism. In many settings, it's purposeful. Sure, bias can become implicit or unconscious through socialization, but this is a secondary effect from the initial tool that it was used." So what is racism's primary purpose? Profit. Racism, in an economic context, is a tool used to justify inhumane acts in order to grow the wealth of the oppressor. If you can otherize a group of individuals, you can exploit them with a purpose. This plays out even in lower-class white neighborhoods, as I see a few days later in Appalachia. But coming back to this programming of white people, I'll say here, fearing black people, academic Elijah Anderson writes, "Almost any white person present in the white space can possess and wield this enormous power of excluding or bringing harm to black people who enter these spaces. And those who feel especially exercised and threatened by the rise of blacks may feel most compelled to wield that power." And it certainly appears that's what happened here in 1921 in Tulsa. This threatening symbol of black advancement seems to be the fear that we, in our collective whiteness, even today, as votes are counted 3 days after the election, we still don't want to face.